Joining me now is Leland Vittert, Chief Washington anchor and host of On Balance. Leland, great to see you. I wanted to start originally with, the sad news of those 5 fallen soldiers. But now I need to start with what has happened most recently. We're now learning of 4 more drone attacks in the Middle East. This, of course, coming at this point just hours after the U.S. launched airstrikes that were supposed to be in retaliation for previous drone strikes. At this point, is an expanded regional conflict looking more and more likely from your vantage point?
I would certainly say expanded Iranian attacks are looking more likely. And there's an interesting bit of reporting from the New York Times, which we're working to confirm, but makes sense, that President Biden himself has personally ordered the Pentagon not to respond in the way they want to these drone attacks that are now up to 50 plus on U.S. troops, because he's worried about escalation. In other words, U.S. troops are going to just keep taking it on the chin because the president's worried about what might happen if America responds. That is an awfully dangerous place to be in. And I think it goes to what President Biden was asked a couple of days ago. He was asked, are these counterstrikes by American forces working? And he says, well, they're working in the sense that they're hitting their targets. The flip side, and we've learned this over time, and Nicole, you and I have been talking about this since the conflict began, that the only language that Iran understands is strength and deterrence, not proportionality and restraint.
Leland, is there a way, from your perspective, to tamp down this seemingly growing threat from Iran without escalating it to the next level? Is there a way to do that?
Sure. The way to do it is the way Donald Trump did it. And I don't say that because of any particular fan of a certain president or not of another president. But the fact remains that President Trump spoke in a language, and George W. Bush did as well, that the Iranians understood. And that was, if you do this, I'm going to do that. And he killed Qasem Soleimani. And then when the Iranian militias got frisky again and started firing drones, missiles, whatever you want to call them, at U.S. facilities, he said he would hold the leaders in Iran responsible. And because he'd already done it, he'd already killed a member of the Iran Revolutionary Guard, a senior leader, then the mullahs took him at face value. And I think what's missing here is a response to the Iranian aggression that tells Tehran that we are A, serious, and B, that force will be met with much greater force. It's very difficult to understand the logic in a vacuum. I think if you zoom out and look a little bit deeper at the logic of the administration, it's more that they don't want to admit failure when it comes to the Iran policy, because if we truly get into real conflict with Iran or take massive U.S. military action, it's Antony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, Victoria Nuland, and others admitting that they're cozying up to Iran over the past 3 years and treating them as a partner and a rational actor didn't work.
So Leland, you mentioned zooming out there. I'd like to zoom in now. I want to talk about those 5 fallen soldiers. What more do we know about them? It's this Army Special Operations Aviation soldiers. And what more do we know about the significance of this apparent routine flight training they were conducting, particularly in light of what is currently happening in the Middle East?
Look, the members of Army Special Operations Aviation, it's the 160th Brigade, it's called the Night Stalkers. These are the guys who fly SEAL Team 6 and Navy Special Warfare Development Group and Delta Force into battle. They are the premier helicopter aviation teams in the world. They're the same people who flew the Bin Laden raid, the Baghdadi raid, and others. These are the best in the world. They routinely train. And obviously, there's parts of them that are stationed overseas. So I don't think it is, in that sense, all that surprising when you're training, when you train like you fight in those kinds of conditions, which is what the special operations ethos is. Then you end up having what they would call mishaps, what we would call accidents, like this. And that's just a sad reality of being in a situation right now where we have members of the military forward deployed, ready to respond to these kinds of threats.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.